How much of your life have you wasted trying to get the approval of people who will never truly care? Why do we keep giving energy to people who only take but never reciprocate? Think about the individuals in your life who are always craving attention. The ones who manipulate your focus, twist your actions, and demand your validation. How much longer will you feed their ego, letting them take from you until there's nothing left? You've heard the saying, what you feed grows. And the truth is, these people thrive on the energy you give them. They seek admiration, they seek power, and they seek your attention. The moment you stop feeding them with your time, your thoughts, your care, something shifts. They lose their hold. They lose their control. And that's when you begin to regain yours. But here's the tricky part. These individuals don't like being ignored. It threatens their entire existence. Their inflated sense of self-worth is built on the attention of others. When you withhold it, they panic. They scramble. They make noise, trying to pull you back in. They'll guilt trip you, gaslight you, or even play the victim. But the moment you stop responding, that's when their power starts to crumble. You might think, but what if I'm being rude? What if I'm being cold? The truth is, what they call coldness is actually self-preservation. You don't owe anyone your energy, your focus, or your empathy if they don't value it. You don't have to give your attention to people who only take from you without ever giving anything back. This isn't about cruelty. It's about protecting your peace. Imagine how different your life would feel if you stopped allowing these people to drain you. What would happen if you stopped chasing their approval, stopped trying to prove yourself, and stopped engaging with their games? The answer is simple. You'd reclaim your power. But the challenge is this: stopping the cycle. You've been conditioned to react, to engage, to try to fix things. But that's exactly what they want. They want you to chase, to beg for their affection, to seek their validation. And as long as you keep playing their game, you'll never win. So the real power lies in doing nothing, in stepping away, in choosing silence, in refusing to give them the attention they crave. When you stop feeding their ego, you give yourself the space to heal, to grow, and to live free. What these individuals don't understand is that your silence isn't an attack, it's a shield. Every time you withhold your attention, they lose a bit more of their power over you. They start to realize that they no longer control your emotions, your reactions, or your energy. And that is when they become vulnerable. You've spent so much time trying to meet their needs, trying to fix their problems, or trying to earn their approval. But no matter how much you give, it's never enough. They are bottomless pits of need, always wanting more, never satisfied. And the moment you stop giving, they go on the offensive. They'll try to make you feel guilty, manipulate your feelings, and use your own empathy against you. They may even try to twist your actions into something negative, making you feel as though you are the one who is in the wrong for withdrawing. But the truth is, when you stop playing their game, you take away their ability to control you. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt at peace around them? When was the last time you felt you could just be yourself without fear of judgment or manipulation? The truth is, their energy drains you. They suck the life out of your soul, and all the while, you're left feeling exhausted, unappreciated, and confused. But here's where the shift happens. When you stop engaging, you stop feeding their need for validation. You stop giving them the reactions they crave. You stop letting them take your power. And that's when you start reclaiming your own energy, your own sense of self-worth. The truth is, you don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't need their attention. You are enough, just as you are. And when you withhold your energy from them, you begin to rebuild your strength. You begin to build a life that is no longer influenced by their need for control. Imagine the peace that would come with truly stepping away from their games. Imagine no longer needing to explain yourself, no longer needing to justify your boundaries. What would your life look like if you were free from their emotional manipulation? What would it feel like to just be you, unfiltered, unapologetically, and completely in control of your own energy? That's the power of withholding attention. It's not about punishment. It's not about revenge. It's about taking back control. It's about choosing yourself over them. And once you do, they will begin to see just how little control they ever really had. The truth is, when you stop reacting to their demands for attention, you stop playing into their narrative. You stop being a part of their performance. And in doing so, you take away their control. Because the more you engage, the more they manipulate. The more you react, the more they gain power. But the moment you withdraw your energy, they're left standing in an empty room, unable to fuel their fragile sense of self. This is where you reclaim your peace. When you stop answering to their games, you stop feeding into their drama. The silence becomes your armor, and it becomes their undoing. No longer will they be able to control your emotions or your energy. You are no longer their emotional puppet. And when you stop giving them attention, you stop making them the center of your universe. But here's the hard truth. The moment you stop playing their game, They'll try to make you feel guilty. They'll make you question yourself, your boundaries, and your worth. They'll accuse you of being cold or distant, but it's all part of their tactic to manipulate you back into their control. You have to resist this temptation. You have to stay strong, stay silent, and let them figure out what it feels like to be ignored. Let them sit with their own insecurities. Because when you stop validating their need for attention, they have no choice but to face themselves. The real strength comes from choosing not to engage, from making the decision to protect your own peace, even when it feels like they're trying to pull you back in. The true power lies in the choice to stay silent, to stop performing for their validation, to stop allowing them to drain you emotionally and mentally. So the next time you feel tempted to respond, to explain, or to react, remember, your silence is your strength. Your absence is your power. And as long as you remain silent, you're in control. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop giving them the power to control your story. And that's when you begin to rewrite your own. If this resonated with you, don't let this moment slip away. Hit subscribe and tap the bell to make sure you never miss a chance to reclaim your peace and power. Your silence is your strength, and it's time you owned it. The most difficult part of all of this is resisting the urge to engage. When you've been conditioned to respond, to explain yourself, to justify your actions, it feels unnatural to simply stop. But that's exactly what makes it so powerful. By withholding your attention, you send a message louder than words ever could. You make a statement. I no longer participate in your narrative. This is not about being cold or indifferent. It's not about punishment. It's about reclaiming your energy and your emotional independence. It's about refusing to let anyone control how you feel or how you react. The more you give your attention to people who only take, the more you give them power over you. But when you choose not to respond, you cut the cord that's been holding you in their orbit. This is the moment when you stop giving your power away. It's when you realize that your worth is not tied to their opinion of you. It never was. You are not here to please anyone. You are here to live authentically on your own terms. And when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop seeking their validation, you begin to live a life that is truly your own. You may have spent years trying to gain their approval, trying to make them see your worth, but that was never your job. Your job is to see your own worth, to believe in your own value, regardless of whether they recognize it or not. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, you start to see yourself in a whole new light. You start to recognize that you are enough, just as you are. The freedom that comes with this shift is unparalleled. It's not just about stopping the cycle of manipulation. It's about breaking free from the need to prove yourself. And when you do that, you stop playing into their hands. You stop being the puppet in their game. You take back control of your life, your energy, and your destiny. Now, imagine what your life would look like if you no longer felt the need to explain yourself. What would it feel like to let go of the need for approval? What would it feel like to be free from their emotional manipulation? The power you've been seeking is already within you, and all it takes is a decision to stop explaining yourself and start living for yourself. When you make that decision, you step into your own power. You stop being at the mercy of others' opinions and start becoming the person you were always meant to be. Your silence becomes your strength. Your absence becomes your power. It's tempting to want to explain yourself, to justify your actions, to prove that you're not the person they say you are. But the moment you feel that pull, remember this: explaining yourself to someone who refuses to listen is like feeding a fire with gasoline. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough. They will always demand more, and you will always be left feeling drained and unappreciated. So, why do we feel the need to explain ourselves to these individuals? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to their perception of us. We think that by proving ourselves, we'll finally get their approval and validation. But the truth is, we're only feeding their need for control. The more we explain, the more they hold the reins. This is why the real power lies in silence, in not explaining, not justifying, not defending, in simply being. When you stop explaining, you stop giving them the ammunition they need to manipulate you. You stop giving them the power to define you. It's hard at first. There's a voice inside you that tells you to fight back, to explain yourself, to make them understand. But the more you do that, the more you lose yourself, the more you lose your peace. You can't control how they see you, but you can control how much of yourself you give to them. When you stop giving your attention, your energy, and your emotions to someone who doesn't value them, you begin to take back control. You start to recognize your worth, independent of their approval. And once you realize that their validation is not necessary for your happiness, you begin to live a life that's truly your own. But it's not just about stopping the cycle. It's about choosing to protect your energy. It's about making the decision to stop allowing anyone to have the power to drain you, to control your thoughts, or to dictate your emotional state. You are in control of your own energy. And that is the most powerful realization you can have. So, what does your life look like when you stop explaining yourself? When you stop seeking approval? When you stop letting others define your worth? It looks like freedom. It looks like peace. It looks like power. When you stop explaining, you stop being controlled. You start to reclaim your own narrative. You begin to write the story of your life without their interference. And that's when you begin to live on your own terms. The truth is, the more you give your energy to these individuals, the more power they gain over you. The more you react, the more they manipulate. But the moment you stop reacting, the moment you withdraw your attention, they lose their hold over you. And that's when you start to gain control over your own life. But here's the kicker. They will do everything in their power to pull you back in. They will guilt trip you. They will play the victim. They will try to manipulate your emotions. But the more they do this, the more they reveal their true colors. They want you to engage, to react, to feel something. And when you don't give them that reaction, they're left with nothing. You have the power to choose whether or not you engage. You have the power to decide where your energy goes. And when you choose to withhold your energy, you take back control. You stop feeding their need for validation, and you start validating yourself. So ask yourself, how long are you going to continue letting these individuals drain your energy? How much longer are you going to feed into their need for control? What if, instead of trying to win their approval, you just started living for yourself? Imagine a life where you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, to justify your actions, or to chase their approval. Imagine a life where you are free to be yourself, without the weight of someone else's expectations. That life is possible, and it starts with choosing to stop feeding the egos of those who only take from you. The more you withhold your energy from them, the more you take back your peace. And that peace is your power. It's the power to live on your own terms, to stop being controlled, and to start being the person you were always meant to be. What if the key to your happiness isn't seeking their approval, but simply letting go of the need to explain yourself?